Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's interesting.
it's ludicrous. It's like one game for two people.
I
Oh,
will admit that I have probably paid for more games this way. Like, more games have been bought because Simon and I can essentially split the cost. Like, I definitely wouldn't buy as many games as I do.
They're probably banking on that. They're like,
Yeah,
well,
probably. That's probably true.
since people are like wanting to connect, Microsoft's always been about connecting its fan base to other fan bases. And they've even like tried to play ball with Sony, though Sony is like, "Oh, you're playing baseball. We're going to go play basketball." But Nintendo is like willing to play ball with them. They want
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
dude. And Sony's been fighting the crossplay for a long time.
yeah.
Do
I
you get
think they're
money?
starting.
Do you get money from the Honda advertisement I got? I don't know. I mean, I guess. I got one. I got a check from Twitch for $100 one
What?
time. And as I promised, and I'll continue to tell everybody this, all proceeds from Twitch, 50% will go to the podcast, 50% will go to the Animal Shelter Society.
Oh, all right. That's nice.
Or it's actually the Best Friends Society, but yeah.
Either way, I did not know that. That's actually pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
So I put
Okay.
$50 into the fucking Best Friends Society. It's broadcasted right on my Twitch channel, and so yeah.
Nice. Way to do what you said you were gonna do.
Good job.
Everybody donate $1 to the Best Friends Animal Society.
Yeah.
Please do. There, like, I specifically went out and I found one that was a no-kill shelter, and went,
Good.
okay, these guys are good. You know, they actually want to take care of animals, and so that's the reason why I back their play.
Well, that's pretty good, buddy. I like that.
That we all do it. You're all part of this now.
Oh my
I'm
god.
glad we did it.
That's a that's a big foundation. Holy shit. $87.14 million a year.
Good
Yeah.
job, us.
So
Good job, us.
we're gonna be talking about Roanoke Part 3 this time. It took us a while to get to it. We had some speed bumps in the road, but we're here now. And this one, since we've finished up the story of Roanoke in the previous chapters, and for a quick refresher, essentially England found Roanoke. They came over and tried to settle it, got kicked out. They came back over with a new crew, tried to settle it. John White bounced back to England as soon as it got hard, and then didn't return for 3 fucking years, and the entire colony vanished. Uh, with like this colony had no soldiers in it, by the way. Just to remind you, where we last left off, he had found his colony is gone, and Croatoan had been written into a tree.
Yeah.
Uh, one
They
of
did leave some soldiers behind at one point, though. Like they left like 10 dudes with like not very well armed on the island that just disappeared too.
Yeah, they did, but they got attacked by Indians like immediately because
Yeah.
they had done a great job of pissing off everybody in the area.
Yeah.
And when John White left this like colony defenseless, it was almost signing their death warrants.
Yeah.
So where we are now, with the Cora Tree episode, we debunked the fact that Cora had anything to do with Croatoan or the Roanoke Colony because it's a complete bullshit story. Great Halloween story, but completely bullshit. And now we're gonna go into the actual investigations into
Well,
what
of course,
happened.
Cora didn't have anything to do with it. She was too busy being the Avatar.
Yeah. So now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and by the way,
Duh.
just a quick
Duh.
refresher on the Cora episode. A tree that's supposed to be 500 years old cannot live past 100. It is a water oak. They
Yeah.
they live in decay within 100 years.
Yeah.
They'll be
And
lucky to meet 150.
I don't
I
know,
don't,
man. Last I knew, the Avatar was an endless spirit that gets reincarnated over and over every generation. So
uh-huh.
that that sounds
Okay.
like more than 100
Okay.
years.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If anything about that story was true, it was a man named Captain Eli Blood.
It was probably.
Oh my
Captain
god, I
Newland.
forgot about Eli Blood.
Eli Blood.
You were a part of this podcast. You did this episode.
He just
totally
forgot about
Eli Blood.
Eli
Totally
Blood.
forgot about him. A forgettable character because he's a piece of
it really
shit.
was. Well, yeah, and he would. God, with a name like Eli Blood, you wouldn't think that he was a dandy Englishman who liked the finer things in life. Not, I'm Captain Eli Blood. I'm here to fuck your nuns.
You started doing that voice, and I thought you were gonna say, "I'm Batman. I'm here for vengeance."
I'm here for vengeance.
Claiming
I
Eli
am
Blood
vengeance.
is Batman is a disgrace against Batman.
Did you guys ever read the Batman series at the end of like not Flashpoint but Darkest Day, where he dies and he goes back in time and he's a witch hunter? He's like a witch hunter in general in Salem. Oh,
That
it's
sounds
pretty good.
dope.
Yeah, he's what Captain Eli Blood wishes he was.
I didn't know Batman was a witch hunter. Never mind.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess
Bruce
he's
Wayne
kind
was.
of a dickhead.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's an interesting. I can't. It was. He's a bunch of stuff. Like you see him in like different periods of time. Bruce Wayne is like a bunch of different things. He's like Witch Hunter General Wayne, and then he's like Sir Wayne, and then all these. And then he comes back to life. I don't know.
And then he's Third Reich General
Yeah.
Wayne.
You know,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Batman's a Nazi.
I like how DC has basically made Batman the Doctor Who of its universe.
Well, this was like, I mean, Darkest Day and I'm sorry, Darkest Night and Brightest Day, or whatever it was. Those two like events were like the first in a series of universe reboots that like every time I revisit DC, I'm like, oh, they did another like DC universe wide reboot because reasons.
Because
Yeah, insert reason.
Yeah.
I forgot Batman's job title was a witch hunter. I couldn't remember he was a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you were wrong.
And what we know about the fucking witch hunts nowadays, Batman's kind of a dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It was pretty good. It was a what's his name? Grant something.
Morrison?
You know. Thank you.
Okay.
It was one of his stories, so it was pretty good. And if I remember right, the witch hunter thing wasn't like too bad.
Well, I would love to continue this discussion on the Stone Gauntlet.
Yeah,
Where
next
you guys
week
are welcome to join, but let's continue with the investigation. Oh, did we tell you that Spider Dude fucking bombed us last week?
What?
Yeah, he podcast bombed us.
Yeah, he did.
Right at the beginning,
he literally joined. He literally joined the Discord chat with the video on his phone and fucking bombed us. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like,
shit.
I just got fucking podcast bombed by the Stone Gauntlet. And then
I
my
think
head
it's because we were talking shit about him.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
I think I was talking shit about him.
Ouch. What the fuck? All right. Well, let's get into Roanoke and maybe he'll bomb us again as Captain Eli Blood. Okay. So let's see. 1595 to 1602, Walter Raleigh. Even though White failed to find his colonists in 1590, he turned to turned to a report that stated they had simply relocated and might be found alive. This actually helped Raleigh so long as the colonists couldn't be proven dead. He could legally maintain his claim in Virginia.
Dude,
that's
some dirty shit. That's some fucking Soprano shit right there.
Yeah, that's some insurance fraud, or like you got to get someone declared dead, not just missing.
Oh, it's 100% corrupt. This dude gives zero fucks about the lives of the colonists, but so long as they were there, he had claim to that land.
Wow. Okay, so let's see. However, petition was made to declare Ananias Dare legally dead, so his son, John Dare, could inherit his estate. The petition was granted in 1597. Wow, the wheels of justice turned slow in Renaissance England or whatever. During Raleigh's first transatlantic voyage in 1595, he claimed to be in search of the lost colonists, but Scrooge McDouche was actually using this as a cover to search for El Dorado. Wow. While returning home, he sailed past the Outer Banks, but claimed terrible weather prevented it from making landfall.
Dude, what a dick.
Dude, he literally gave
Jesus Christ.
the zero effort.
Oh,
I'm picturing him like on the ship and like a little like mist kind of comes down and he goes, torrential downpour. We're gonna have to turn around.
okay.
Everyone on the ship is like, it's like not even raining, bro. And he's like, nope.
He
It's like,
Wikipedia'd his report. He was just like, oh, they're alive. All right, cool. So let's go search for them.
Oh, I can't search for them. Oh no.
Oh man.
What are we
ouch.
gonna do?
I guess we'll go find El Dorado.
Colorado. Yeah. Oh God. Let's go to Florida. Let's go to Disney World. Fucking Jesus Christ. All right. What a piece of shit. In 1602, Raleigh sought to enforce his monopoly in Virginia when the price of sassafras skyrocketed.
I know. It's
so silly.
this is all about intent.
I know. He decided to fund a search party to sail to the Outer Banks and find the colonists with his sassafras money.
Oh, this was only like fucking 12 years later.
Yeah. And this is like 5 years after they were declared dead. So, what the fuck? Led by Samuel Mace, this expedition differed from previous ones. Not only did Raleigh use his own ship, but also guaranteed the sailors' wages so they couldn't be distracted by privateering. Oh, so they're not going to fuck with the Spanish now.
Yeah, see, this was a big problem because the previous expedition that John White went after to find the colonists, because he actually tried to find the colonists. They kept getting waylaid by fucking side quests. Like they were looking for gold, and to just rob everybody blind on the seas.
Boy, howdy, do I know that problem. Just getting distracted with side quests.
Ooh. It all started with GTA 3 and it hasn't ended.
Oh my god. I'm just thinking about The Witcher and the amount of pointless monster hunts that I went on that were it's so many of them.
Oh man.
Yeah, but this is like if during the Baron's quest line of The Witcher, instead of doing something about the fucking village, you decide to go help some doppelganger, and you come back and everyone's dead.
Yeah, I might have done that.
I mean, I definitely killed the village in The Witcher because I was like, all right, the village or the orphans, and then I chose the orphans, and I'm like, it can't be that bad. And I go back to the village, and the whole place is racked with disease and falling apart and on fire. And I'm like, I guess I'm never coming back to this town.
Whoops.
Whoops.
Not my problem.
Not my problem.
Just call me Raleigh.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the ship's manifest and itinerary indicate that Raleigh's true goal was to harvest sassafras far south from the Croatoan Island. However, by the time Mace approached Hatteras, hey, I went there once, strong winds prevented him from lingering in the area. In 1603, Raleigh was implicated in a devious plot to overthrow King James and arrested for treason.
Yo, this dude just sounds like an overall piece of shit. Just from getting that. I mean, I have nothing wrong with overthrowing monarchies, but Jesus Christ.
I'm sure it wasn't for any sort of good reason.
Hey, I just want to point out, before this episode, we had debated whether or not fucking FBI agents were listening in on our episodes just because of Alex's job. And I love how you just blatantly said that.
Yeah.
What? Why would blatantly said what? Overthrow monarchies? We don't live in a monarchy.
It's true.
We live in an oligarchy, if anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um,
We got we got Simon on the line as well. What up,
oh
Simon?
shit!
Six
What up,
Slam
dude?
Picks.
They can fucking call it representative democracy as much as they want. Doesn't make it a representative democracy. Especially with the amount of fucking gerrymandering that goes on in this
Oh
country.
god.
I mean, if you call sour cream butter, it's still fucking sour cream.
I was just complaining to someone about the real voter fraud, which is gerrymandering.
Dude, it's so like once you get into that rabbit
Oh,
hole,
God.
you're just like, well, fuck. How do we get out of this one?
I know,
Like,
right? Oh
Jesus
god.
Christ.
Ugh.
And like how rampant it's been for the past like
Yeah.
30 years it's staggering. It's staggering.
And whoever's in power is like, yeah, it's fine. Like whether they're Democrats or
Yeah,
Republicans.
whether it's Democrats or Republicans, yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's totally fine.
it's totally fine to do it. And then when
Yeah,
they're
and
not
then,
in power, they're like,
like,
"Well,
this
I
is
don't know
wrong."
about this.
It's like the 2/3 majority in the Senate. It's like, oh, this is horrible. And then when you're in power, like, oh, wait a minute.
Thank you both for turning into fucking old white people complaining about politics.
Hey,
Alright.
hey.
It happens.
This is like we're like middle-aged white people complaining about the man.
There was much harumping involved. Harumph.
Yes. Rump. Okay, let's get to another white guy.
They
Bar-
are old
follow
white
me-
people.
Yeah.
Sick agrees. Also tall. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
That's yes. Nobody expects the Spanish. That's true. Okay, 1603. Bartholomew Gilbert, which is the whitest name I've ever heard, besides John White.
John White is the whitest name.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's like the most white name ever.
Yeah. Okay, there was another expedition in 1603 to find the colonists, led by Bartholomew Gilbert. They intended to land on Chesapeake Bay, but bad weather forced a landing in an unspecified location near there. The landing team, captained by Gilbert, were slaughtered by Native Americans for unknown reasons on July 29th. I don't know if the reasons are that unknown.
It's
Yeah,
really not that
I was
unknown.
literally about to say that too.
They landed in an area where like a bunch of other white guys like really screwed over the native, like the local tribes.
If you
So-
listen to our 2 previous Roanoke episodes, you know the reasons are very well known. We just choose to ignore them.
I know. So the remaining crew returned to England empty-handed. So just to break it down, after they like figured out this shit was like not of the colony wasn't there, everybody and their mom was like hand-wringing, like, oh, we gotta find them, except they weren't really, they were just more interested in El Dorado and Sassafras.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about money and power.
Yeah, it's like nobody really cared about, I mean, we have some theories, but nobody really cared about what happened to the colony, really. Just their sassafras
it's always
interests.
about money, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's
I would love
alwa-
to be able to go ahead.
No, I mean, like, we had a church up here that was all hell bent on like helping the poor and helping the poor till disaster struck, and then it's like we have to house the poor, and they're like, well, are they
Yeah.
part of the congregation?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, go fuck yourself, because
Yeah.
truthfully, it always boils down to money and power and how much you
Mhm.
can attain.
This is the truth. And I had something here. Oh, I wish I could say I was from a sassafras fortune. Like not a sugar fortune, not a flour fortune, but a sassafras fortune.
Oh, really? Because my dream has always been to be part of the Orbenbacher fortune, the
Orville-
popcorn guy.
Wow, I was gonna say that
Orville
yeah.
Bacher, whatever the guy's name is.
Orville
Oh,
Redenbacher.
popcorn.
Orville, Orville. What is it?
Orville
Orville
Redenbacher.
Yeah, I want to be that fortune.
You want to be
That's
the
what
heir to that fortune? Mm.
Yeah.
Is it just so you can have unlimited popcorn?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
You know, I don't even think that the Hiltons get to stay at Hilton free anymore.
What?
Dude, popcorn is like one of the healthiest snacks you can have.
It's true. It gets stuck in my teeth though.
You know,
Not Orville, like technically, because of all the shit they add to it. But if you get like some like good like popcorn that is not salted and you do all of that yourself, very healthy snack.
Yeah.
you know, if I was the heir to the Orville Redenbacher fucking fortune, I would marry the heir to the Land of Lakes fortune because that's a match made in heaven.
Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine if that's how products were innovated? Like, can you imagine living in a world where you didn't have buttered popcorn until the heir of Orville Redenbacher married the heir of like Land of Lakes?
No,
I'm
I
just
I will not imagine that. That sounds horrendous.
That sounds. Oh, dude, that sounds amazing.
I can't stop thinking about that old man screwing that little Native American girl.
Oh my god! Well, they don't have the Native American anymore. They took her
Oh,
off.
okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm happy about that.
Wait, are you talking
Um,
about John Smith and Pocahontas?
yes. Yes, I am. We'll talk about him
Listen,
later.
I've seen the Disney version of Pocahontas. It was 100% consensual, according to Disney.
According to Disney, I don't think they ever fucked in real life. Especially considering I think Pocahontas was something like 4 feet tall or 4'10". I don't know.
Yeah, and John Smith was probably gay, and he was like,
Oh, he was definitely
I'll
gay.
just have her around as my beard, right?
Yeah.
Just be like,
I'm
oh
gonna
I rape her all the time.
I'm
Why
gonna
would
take her
you
to
brag about
England
that?
and everything. Well, no, because back then that was consensual sex.
Oh, is that yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I forgot about that. That's a different time.
Yeah, back then when rape was consensual sex.
I mean, I did just finish watching part 3 of Surviving R. Kelly, and I mean, rape isn't consensual sex.
Back then, work was consensual servitude.
Yes, exactly. Hey, way to change the subject from something sad. Okay, so speaking of John Smith and his closeted ways, we're going to get to 1607 to 1609 here. John Smith. Following the establishment of the Jamestown settlement in 1607, John Smith was captured by the Powhatan. I got like damn it, Powhatan. There we go. Let's see. During this time, he met with both their leader.
This is
God
why
damn.
you read it.
Yeah.
This is why
No,
we don't read
I
it.
read it. I read it before, and I had a pronunciation in my head. Now it's not working.
Wahan Seneca?
Yeah, Wana Seneca Kawa. Ka.
Is that like a
Wahoo
Wahun
Seneca.
Seneca.
Wa-
Wahun Seneca. We'll
Wahoo
go with that.
Seneca?
Hashtag
Somebody can-
cancel Crook and murder. Start like trending it on Twitter.
Or just send us a letter telling us how to pronounce it.
Yeah, or that.
So he was chief of the Powhatan, and
It's
his
gonna get
brother.
worse.
I know. Opachanakov.
Wow.
Yeah. Opachanaka.
Opachanica. Nah.
Yeah. It's not Opachanikov. It's Opachanikov. Okay. They described him a place called Okinahoan.
We need to
It
stop
just
giving these big words to Max.
Yeah, I'm just going with it. Okinahoan. At this location, men wore European-style clothing and lived in walled houses. After returning to this settlement,
Wait, hold on. Does that mean the houses had walls like they do now, or is it like a house that had a wall around the house?
You know,
that's
I
a
would
good
imagine
question.
a walled house means a house with walls.
So, what's a house without walls?
This isn't
It's a
rocket science. It's called
It's
a
a
teepee.
carport. Well, no, I mean, a teepee technically still has walls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's a house without walls, man?
I don't know. It's a carport.
Paul's gonna go eat dinner. Good job, guys.
Oh, God damn it!
Enjoy your dinner, Tall.
It was my pronunciation, wasn't it?
Yep,
We're
you've
losing
scared
listeners.
everybody away.
Well, okay. Well, let's just say they lived in European-style housing. How's that?
That
Okay.
works.
After returning to his settlement, Smith made arrangement with Chopunk. Choopunk. There we go. The king of Passet. Oh, I recognize this word. Pasahe.
Oh,
To
I think you actually pronounced that right.
I think we could, yeah, Pasahe. To investigate another place reportedly inhabited by men in European dress called Panawike. Ooh, Panawike. The colony produced a crude map of the region with labels of these villages. The map also features a place called Pakarakanik with a note indicating, "Here remaineth 4 men clothed that came from Roanoke Okahawahan." Yeah, 4 clothed men. That's interesting.
So basically, since we like garbled that entire thing,
Roanoke.
John Smith was pointed in a direction where people of European dress, living in a European way, were.
Yeah.
And
So there was like a few different places, but yeah.
and it leads heavily into, is this what happened to the Roanoke colonists?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so we just go through the timeline here. Let me think. We just okay, so they lost it in 1590. This is 1607 to 1609. So I mean, what I was thinking is like if they would probably not reuse their European dress for that long, if they went, native or whatever. So it could be the same generation or one generation later or half a generation. They could still be wearing their like European clothes, even if they were like really uncomfortable.
Well, what we're gonna find out, it's either this episode or the next. A lot of people that transitioned to the Native American life left England happily because
Yeah.
England kind of sucked. And
Yeah.
when they became Native Americans and given the opportunity to come back, they didn't. They were like, "No, this rocks. We're gonna stay here."
But did they like start dressing like the natives, or did they like keep their clothes?
No, they would abandon the customs and
Nice.
take on the Native American customs. They
I
would
would too.
technically culturally appropriate them,
Yeah.
but if
Well,
you're part of the fucking tribe, it's not really cultural
I
appropriation.
don't know if it's cultural appropriation. I think it's more like assimilation.
Yeah, man, they were all like, "My name's Kevin Costner, and I'm here to stay."
Okay, so that was cultural appropriation, but
Yeah.
I think in this case, I think it's assimilation because they're like, oh, these people like actually know how to like survive here. Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and they're using like hides and stuff, and I'm wearing this fucking itchy ass cotton, or I'm sorry, wool.
Yeah, and imagine how long if your community's small enough, you're not
Yeah,
growing enough like materials to be able to make clothes like that.
exactly.
Oh,
I don't even know. I guess they probably didn't even have sheep here
I mean,
unless you brought them.
they could have been referring to an earlier time though. Like, hey,
Oh yeah,
these people were here dressed in a European, like fucking uh dress and forcing their cultures upon us by living with their fucking walled establishments. So here they are, they're this way.
yeah. And I mean, and we're talking about the first like English colony, right? Like
This
there
is
had
this
there
is
were like Spaniards there already.
I mean, this is like essentially the fucking founding of Jamestown. It happened right around that time.
Yeah,
Because it deals with John Smith.
yeah.
And John Smith was, for all intents and purposes, kind of trying to figure out what happened to the Roanoke colonists.
Okay. Well, so Like, I mean, it would stand to reason that this like weird colony of people wearing like wool and skirts and shit could have been Spaniards or French or whoever else was like fucking around here.
It definitely could have been the French, because the French are dickheads. And still to
Well,
this day, I was
so are the
in,
English.
I was in Belgium, and I remember being like, "Hey, you know, I stopped a Frenchman on the street, and it was like there with his girlfriend, and I'm like, wow, people." So I was like, "Hey, buddy, where can I find the hostel?" And he's like, "Oh, you speak English?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I don't." And then he started laughing, and I'm like, "Wow, the
That's
French,
helpful.
yeah, the French are fucking dicks."
Was he
And
French or was he Belgian?
he was a French living in Belgium.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe the only English he knew was, "Do you speak English?" Well, I don't. Ha ha ha.
It's like, he's like, I sure hope I help that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other English he knew was to refer to himself as a cheese-eating surrender monkey. As a Simpsons.
So I got the
reference.
fuck out of Belgium and went back to Amsterdam because they're way more fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Belgium's kind of my sister's been there. I've never been there. I have been to Amsterdam though, and I gotta say that city has a ton of dog shit in it.
Yeah, among other things. Like
Yeah, amongst other
legalized weed and shrooms. So
Oh, and prostitution.
and prostitution. Pretty much Amsterdam is like the last Wild West frontier. Yet they actually managed to hold it together.
Well, somebody should be picking up dog shit. That's all I gotta say. I went there and I didn't smoke any weed. I think I was 16 and I was there with my aunt. I didn't get a chance. And I just remember thinking, like, man, these dogs are just shitting all over the sidewalk.
You know what?
Put up little poles with doggy baggies,
Yeah.
little shit bags.
This was Kirby in another life, but I definitely went there and got really fucked up, and I noticed no dog shit.
See, that's what I did wrong.
I did get lost in the red light district.
So that's why they don't clean up the dog shit, because everyone's so fucked up they don't notice the dog shit. That or they're smoking or eating the dog shit thinking it's drugs.
That like from Cheech and Chong?
Is that from Cheech and Chong?
Doesn't he like try to pass off some dog shit as weed in one of those movies?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess the fucking dog shit gets you high as balls because those fucking those walls were moving on me, man. They were literally waving. The buildings
Amsterdam
in
Law
Amsterdam.
must feed dogs mushrooms.
That's it.
We're I just remember, are we smoking dog shit, man? I think that's from Up and Smoke 2.
I walked into, they called it a smart shop where they sold like truffles, and the guy was like, "Well, how high do you want to get?" And I'm just like, "Well, I've done a few things in my like lifetime," and he's like, "Okay, so what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "About a medium." And he hands me these can of truffles, and I take him outside, and he's like, "Listen very carefully. Take them one at a time." And I'm like, "That's cool, dude." And this is after I'd eaten like an entire space cake. So the space cake hadn't hit yet, and I go walking out on the street. I'm like, "This place is full of shit." And I'm like, "I know how to eat my truffles." And I start shoveling them into my mouth.
Oh god.
And the next thing you know, Amsterdam became an entirely different place. I was on like the 5th level of the astral plane.
That happened to me on acid once. I'm pretty sure that I passed through a sliding glass door. Or someone opened it for me and closed it. But I'm pretty sure I passed through it.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say somebody opened it and closed it for you.
I mean, it's entirely possible, but
that or unbeknownst to you, you shattered the shit out of it.
I checked it the next day and it was still intact because I still was like, man, I moved through that shit.
Maybe you just ran into it and then like knocked yourself unconscious for 30 minutes and was like, I'm on the other side now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of these theories could be correct, but I'm gonna go with I passed through that shit.
You fizzed through glass while high on acid. All right.
Yes. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to John Smith and his swashbuckling ways. All right. In the summer of 1608, Smith sent a letter back to England containing this information along with a map. Though the original map was lost, Pedro de Zuinga,
Zuniga?
Spanish ambassador, Zuinga,
Actually, I
know.
have no idea. Whatever.
Zuniga, but it would be like Zuinga. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, Zuniga obtained a copy of it and passed it along to King Philip III of Spain. That copy, commonly known as the Zuniga map, was rediscovered in 1890. All right. Smith had planned to investigate Pakarakanik. There we go. But a dispute with the Paspahe stopped him in his tracks. He also dispatched 2 search parties to look for the other villages with instructions to find the lost colony of Sir Walter Raleigh. Neither group found any sign of the Roanoke colonists living there. Well, shit.
Well, there you have it.
I guess that's it. We're done. I don't even know, man. These fucking people. How many people were in the original colony? Like 50?
No, it was 100.
100. Okay.
And they did like just vanish.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple theories about it, and we're gonna get that into that next time.
And I'm gonna just ruin it for everybody. It's aliens.
It's aliens.
It's
Oh, you
aliens.
stole my thunder.
I know. Or ghosts or Bigfoot or something. I don't know. Swamp apes. Could be anything.
Swamp ape aliens.
When you say swamp apes, all I think is the fucking swamp people from that Discovery show where they have to have the subtitles and they're like, goddamn they just have the subtitles and you're like, how did they even figure out what to put in for the subtitles?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know why we're
a
searching
translator.
for fucking Bigfoot. They're right there. We're
I
doing a
know.
show on them on the History Channel.
Exactly. Man, I'm gonna go search for Bigfoot. That's what I'm gonna quit my job and just do that full time.
Ooh, let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. We're gonna start in Georgia looking for the swamp ape, and it shouldn't be that hard because he's very, very stinky apparently.
I don't know how I would pay for my house, but I can sell the house.
Yeah, we'll just go live in a swamp.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then we'll make our way up to the Pacific Northwest and look for Sasquatch, and then the Himalayas looking for, what's his face and some other guys.
Yeti.
The Yeti.
This is probably how swamp people became swamp people.
Yeah, probably.
this exact line of reasoning. I'm gonna quit my job and go.
I want to quit my job and go find me a skunk ape.
Yeah.
Well, about 35 years ago, I used to be a big Wall Street executive.
I was a good on-down meteorologist up there, and to kind of get a bit, God, give me some swamp ape.
Like 30 years before that, he was speaking like, I'm from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good day, sir. I am a meteorologist from Connecticut.
My name is Ronald.
Okay, so we'll get back to England doing English things instead of swamp apes. Okay. Huzzah! Word reached England's Royal Council via Virginia in May 1690 that the 1887 colonists had been slaughtered by
1587.
Okay, you fucked that all
up. I fucked that all up. I know. God.
1609 and 1587.
Yeah. What did I? Yeah, I said okay. 1609. I realized it like after I had done it. 1609 and 1587. that the 1587 colonists had been slaughtered by Juana Seneca. I remember him. I can't remember what happened to him, but I remember him. The source of this information is unknown. However, Machumps, goddamn, Juana Seneca's brother-in-law was known to provide information about Virginia, and he had recently arrived in England.
Okay, hold up. Why does Machumps sound like the fourth evolution of Machamp?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing.
It's like, so is this what happens after Machoke?
Machumps? Okay. Based on this intelligence and Smith's earlier report, the council drafted new orders for the Jamestown colony to relocate. The orders recommended Ohanaghorn. Wait. Ohanaghorn. Is that
Ohanaghorn?
I think it's Ohanaghorn.
Ohanaghorn. Thank you. Yeah, that's.
This is the worst fucking episode. I really should have put like actual phonetics, like.
You did that for like an episode before, and it was really helpful. Oh, he had to mute. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember what episode, but it was awesome.
Yeah. I might do that from now on. So my bad.
It's all right. Maybe I'll go to the Wikipedia page and see if they have like a audio file of like how to pronounce these things before I do this. Okay. All right. So the orders recommend the Ohanaghorn near the mouth of the Chowan River as a new base. Advantages of this relocation would be close proximity to the rich copper mines of Roanoke and
Roanoke.
Thank you. Pekka Arnamike, where 4 of Raleigh's men were supposedly being held captive by Chief Jepanacorn.
Now,
there's no
because
R.
this is.
Oh, there's no R. Your thing is in the way, Kirby. Move your cursor.
I'm sorry. I'll get my thing out of the way, guys. It's pretty big like that.
Japanicon.
Now, just because the audience can't see this, is there any specific reason that name is in quotes?
I don't know.
That was more of a question for Kirby.
4 Raleigh's men were reportedly being held captive by Chief. Maybe it's because he didn't exist.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't like
these.
It's true. I wrote this like 3 months ago, but if I had to guess,
good chance he wasn't. Yeah, it was just bullshit.
Yeah.
These orders were delayed due to the shipwreck of the Sea Venture at Bermuda. That's way out of the way, guys. They finally arrived in 1610, several months after Jamestown colonists were already starving. This crisis prevented the orders from taking manifest. God damn. Yeah, things just kept getting in the way.
I mean, just fucking call it a day at this point.
I know.
Like, the Roanoke colonists are gone. Where are they?
Yeah.
They're gone.
They're gone.
You're not going to find them. And yet everyone keeps trying.
They were here, but they're not anymore. So Jamestown. Remind me what happened there, because like they like starved, but then they were helped by some friendly Pocahontas.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure they were massacred.
Ah, okay. That's what I
thought.
thought.
The Jamestown massacre.
Yeah, that's right.
But John Smith got away from it, so.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and I think he brought Pocahontas to England with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Against her will.
Yeah. And that back then was a marriage.
Actually, technically, yes.
Kidnapping was marriage, and rape was consensual sex.
I'm so glad these are the topics we're covering in this episode.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. God damn. it's funny because in this story, John Smith is just kind of like a footnote. He's like, I'll go over there and look for him, but I'm gonna set up my own colony first.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
John Smith. It seems like he was one of those center of attention types,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's kind of weird that he isn't at the fucking like center of all this. You know?
yeah. I think he had some of his own like dealings to deal with angry natives and uh, starving colonists and whatnot. I still
Kidnapping Native Americans.
yeah. Well, also it always gets me like all these colonists like show up here from Europe and like immediately start to starve. Like what like what I mean the, how?
It's the same concept of people going out to like Wyoming or Montana and being like, I could live there because it's beautiful. And then like winter strikes and they go, oh, I should make this a vacation home.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
That makes some sense.
Because people, unless they're actively taught how to live off the land, you got to realize they grew up in colonial England. Like a lot of their amenities were provided for them. You know, they could just
Yeah.
walk down to fucking Starbucks and get a coffee, or walk to Chipotle and get some fucking, like Mexican food. But
15th century Mexican food.
but the minute they end up in the New World, where that's no longer an option, yeah, you're gonna fucking starve. If
Well, I mean, but here's that they're like, okay, it's 1610, right? Like they should know, and they're from England, and it's like this is during the Little Ice Age. Like they should know to like stock up on food before winter.
Okay, Einstein put it best. There are two things that are infinite in this universe: universe itself and human stupidity.
Oh,
You work
yeah.
in the IT field, you know just how fucking dumb people.
Yeah. I work in security. I know exactly how dumb people. I know exactly how dumb smart people can be.
Yeah.
Like, I dealt with it today. Like, I don't know. I don't even want to describe it. It's
People
hard to fathom.
like try to walk someone through how to open up a Windows start bar
Yeah.
is a fucking nightmare sometimes because you're like, go to the bottom of your computer, and they're like, what's a computer?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't put any benefit of the doubt to people that
Yeah.
show up in the colonies of America before it was founded. I expect them all to die, and I'm very surprised, like a couple of them, that they even found a footing over here.
Well, if you just send enough people, like,
Well, yeah, it's the Russian mentality. Just
yeah,
send enough
just
bodies at it, eventually
yeah.
it'll happen.
Yeah, you'll survive
Yeah,
winter at some
See
point.
how that's working out for them so well.
Well, I mean, the British were known for hiring mercenaries back then too. So
They would have had a
Uh,
lot, like, honestly, they would have had a much better, fucking, they would have had a much better chance if they had hired pirates, because pirates know how to do
Yeah.
shit, and they could have just hired them as privateers instead of, oh, I don't know, hunting them, and
Yeah,
sent them
well-
over to do shit for them.
but they did hire them as privateers at some point because that's how they all ended up in the fucking Bahamas.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did. And then they
Yeah.
became legalized pirates.
Yeah, but yeah, they survived. In fact they survived and were drunk the whole time.
I think that's the key to it.
Oh God, we just found it.
Just
Shit.
the key to survival: getting drunk.
Just get hammered, and then you don't really care too much about food or shelter. You just
Yeah,
figure it out.
I love it.
That's the
Okay.
American way, technically.
It is.
For fucking real.
That's actually, you know what? That's the show I want to see. I don't want to see Naked Survival or Scared or Naked and Terrified, whatever it's called. I want to see like Drunk Survival.
Shit
Drunk
face
and
survivor.
skunk.
Drunk and
Survivor.
skunk.
Yeah, that's the show I'm going to produce for History Channel.
That's like, oh, you know what? I could better shelter, but fuck it.
Welcome to the new season of Drunken Skunk. We take 12 people, we load them up on booze, we give them a backpack full of booze, and we just airdrop them somewhere remote in the world.
And they got to find the hot tub.
And then somehow they
Find the
colonize it.
tub, yeah.
And you know how they colonize it? It's because they run out of alcohol, and then they gotta do shit. They're like, oh, we gotta make
Yep.
more alcohol.
Exactly. We gotta find some wheat and some barley. We gotta brew some beer and make some whiskey. All right, we're gonna talk about another white guy. Okay, 1610 to 1612, William Strachey.
I thought that said starchy for a second, and I was
did.
like, dude, they all have the greatest white names ever. But then I realized that it's R.A., not A.R.
I really wish it was starchy. But
Starchy.
Strachey kind of makes me giggle too. Strachey arrived in Jamestown in May of 1610. By 1612, he had returned to England, just like everyone else. When he got back, he wrote the Historia of Travail into Virginia Territory. I said Travail like that because it's spelled like that.
Yeah, that's like an old English spelling of travel.
I think it's like Middle English, but yeah.
He's essentially like, this dude was a bitch. He's one of those people that went to like New York and saw like the fucking Wall Street and was like, well, this is New York, and then went home.
They saw like Times Square and was like, well, yep, I ate at Bubblegum Shrimp and I came home.
Yeah,
even though Times Square at that time was probably just fucking horse shit.
Well, they didn't have horses then.
Just fucking
In
a
America.
pile of donkey shit.
There you go. Well, yeah.
Native Americans had horses.
No, they didn't. The horses are not native to the North and South America.
Oh shit!
So they didn't have horses until the colonists brought them.
Hashtag history fact brought to you by Max.
Yeah. So like up until like probably around just this time, they use mostly dogs, not to ride on, but like as like, you know, companionship and hunting companions.
That's because dogs kick ass, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, if you watch Prey, she's got a dog in that. Not a horse, a dog.
I might have to watch Prey because that chick is pretty hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay. I was gonna say
the reason you should watch it. It's a decent movie for what it is.
Or that, yeah. That's a good reason to watch it.
It's definitely the best Predator like iteration that's been in like the last 20 years.
I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was too. And she's got a dog, and very few of the her people in her tribe have horses. They got like 2 horses. Like this is why like if you watch like old Western stuff that's like somewhat accurate, like Native Americans are like very, very, very like proud of their horses because basically like, you know, their ancestors like took them off of dead white dudes.
Well, they kind of missed an opportunity there of what they call the movie. 2 horses, 1 dog.
Oh, come on. You're gonna make I think that movie might exist, but yeah.
Excuse me?
You
2 horses, 1 dog?
Actually, I don't want an explanation. Let's get back to the outline.
I do want to point out that was chocolate.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I've read up on the backstory of that video.
That wasn't real.
It wasn't real, and they didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
No, they didn't. Yeah, if you want to have a good Wikipedia read, check out the history of 2 Girls, 1 Cup because it's not real.
Is the Breakfast of Champions real?
Oh, come on!
Because that one looks pretty real.
What's the Breakfast of Champions?
It's a really good book by what the fuck is his name?
Vonnegut?
Vonnegut, yeah, thank you, Kurt Vonnegut.
What?
That is 100% what I'm talking about. It's a real book.
Definitely
it's real.
Yeah.
That was real, right? Yeah, Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah, and it wasn't an Asian. Wait, am I thinking? Are we thinking the same thing in the Asian porn film with the shit and the? Or is that a different one?
No, I don't. Were there Asians in that one? No,
Um,
where she's eating cereal out of her butthole.
oh, that's right. No,
You know
I'm
what,
thinking of a
guys?
different one.
Since you've convinced me that it's a purely wholesome thing, I'm gonna go ahead and look it up on my work computer tomorrow.
Yeah, Google it Google it while you're at work. And definitely don't go to like well, what's that one? Lemonparty.com or whatever.
Oh, I'll go there afterwards.
I think that's a great idea. Make sure your sound's turned up like really, really, really
All
loud.
the way.
All the way.
I could definitely make that happen.
All right. Okay, so this asshole, what's his name? Strachey, described Pekamarek, I'm sorry, Pekar, Pekara Karamek, god damn, Okachahoan, Enogeg, and Ritanoa in a manner consistent with John Smith's map and the council's information. However, he introduced additional details about the slaughter of Roanoke. Strachey suggested that the lost colonists had spent 20 years living peacefully with a tribe beyond Patauan territory. He claimed Wanasechea carried out an unprovoked attack at the recommendation of his priests. Shortly before the arrival of Jamestown, 7 English survived the attack. The survivors fled up the Chowan River and came under the protection of a chieftain named Anoko, for whom they started working for at Ratano. Interesting. I don't know about that. All that sounds. I mean, he was there for 2 years. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Historia of Treville never directly references the tribe that supposedly hosts the colonists. However, Strachey did describe an attack against the Chesapeans in which Wahanechewa's priests warned of a nation arising in Chesapeake Bay that would threaten his dominion. It has been inferred that the colonists had relocated Chesapeake Bay and both groups were wiped out in the attack. Strachey also believed they were all Satanists.
I love that. It's just like, so they got wiped out. Also, they were Satanists.
Yeah, witches and Satanists. Every one of them. He wanted England to facilitate the Patauans' conversion to here it is, Christianity. Convert the people, but punish the priests. His book was not published and fell into obscurity until 1849. Records do not show any action was taken against Wahanecha or his priests in retaliation.
You know
so
what?
This guy is a piece of shit.
I actually think I figured it out. After reading, listening to that, I now know exactly what happened to Captain Eli Blood.
What happened?
William Strachey was clearly his pen name.
Oh, yeah. That's actually it.
He came back and wrote this bullshit book.
What a piece of shit. Captain Eli Blood. Fucking piece of shit. So this guy, oh god, he believed that the colonists were all Satanists. Then they were slaughtered by the Native Americans, and then he wanted to convert the people and punish the priests because that's what you do. I think it's more like punish the people and punish the priests.
I love how his book goes historical.
Yeah.
Historical. This is what happened. This is what happened.
Yeah.
And they were all Satanists, and then they were wiped out, and then punished the priests. And it's like, whoa, you just flew off the fucking handle there, Strachey. You were onto something.
He built his little box on the corner with his tin hat.
Well, it kind of sounds like that because his shit wasn't published, and then someone found it in 1849 and probably turned it into the King James Bible or something.
This could have been his Christian fucking fanfic.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like what he really wants to do with his life.
He's like, ooh, look at all those beautiful, beautiful native boys. Let's convert them.
And the men were so hard, so
I
very
know.
hard.
Oh, look at that. Oh, and we can turn the women into nuns and send them off to the nunnery.
Who cares about women? Let's talk about the hard men.
Exactly. I'm a hard man right now. What? Oh, I meant like hard Scrabble, like hard boiled. I'm like like something out of a pulp novel. Huh.
Huh.
Not that I'm physically erect. Um. Anyways,
Awkward
moving on.
silence. But
Yeah,
go on.
1625. So we're jumping a few years here. Samuel Purchase. Let's see. After the Powhatan attacked Jamestown in 1622, English perception of Native Americans was dramatically shifted. Writers began to question their humanity.
Oh
Oh,
my
go figure.
god.
I'm shocked. The London Company published propaganda arguing that the massacre justified genocidal retaliation. This was to assure potential backers that their investment in the colony would be safe. Okay. Oh, damn. Thus, Samuel Purchase wrote the Virginia Verger in 1625. In it, he asserted England's right to possess and exploit its Native American claim. He argued that the entirety of the native race had lost its rights through bloodshed.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
like the pot calling the kettle black. It's
Yeah.
not like fucking England's never gone on a bloody massacre spree.
Yeah. Well, that's justification for a much bigger one at this point. And I mean, like, he's arguing that a whole continent of people just lost all their rights.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's complete and utter bullshit. Like,
It's amazing.
they were just like, so wait, they killed us?
Yeah.
Oh, well they're in the wrong. You know, this is it's a lack of insight. It's never gone, hey, have we ever done anything bad in the history of England?
We came here and we just never attacked anybody and just tried to hold hands, and look what they did.
I mean, they must have forgotten about Thanksgiving.
And John Smith.
They basically were like, they came and were like, this land is my land. This land is my land. This land is
Not
my
yours.
land.
Definitely not your land. And then we wrap it all up in a fucking bow and call it Thanksgiving, where still nothing went wrong.
Oh man, nothing happened at Thanksgiving. All right. He cited the 1686 ambush of back to this guy, Grenville's garrison, an alleged attack on a white colonist, and the 1622 Jamestown massacre. However, he offered no evidence for his claim about the 1587 colony except to state that Powhatan had confessed to John Smith about slaughtering the colonists as well. So it's like a game of white telephone. Smith may have related the story of Wanakawa's confession to Purchase. They were known to speak to each other. However, Smith's own writings mention of no such confession. This leads many to believe that it was anti-Native American propaganda. Even if true, it still could have been a lie Wanakawa created to intimidate John Smith. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but why would you even still do that? You're on your deathbed. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
tell my wife I love her. Tell my kids that I'm sorry and to do the best they can in their life. Also, I slaughtered all your colonists. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why?
Yeah. No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Was he one of the natives that like they brought to England and like very promptly died of the common cold because they had no like immunity to it?
I'm pretty sure whether they brought them to England or not, a lot of them promptly died of the common cold.
Oh, that's true. And smallpox, or whatever.
Yeah, in fact, the previous episode, all they did was kill Native Americans through the common cold.
Oh man, it's just like we need like a good reason to like squat on this land. Oh, here's a good reason. Okay, and now we'll put out a bunch of propaganda and you know commit a huge genocide.
Yeah, cough, cough, brain,
Yeah,
cough, cough.
Cough, uh, God, um, Jesus Christ, it's just like I don't know. It's this guy. It's interesting. We're jumping a lot of time periods here because the next one starts in 1701. So I'm just assuming that like, and well, I guess I don't really have to assume. We know that that what this guy was like pushing, like really happened.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, after like 1625, they just assumed the colonists were dead. So,
Oh yeah,
so they're kind of
Well, I mean, it's
like,
been like what, almost 30 years?
basically, yeah.
yeah.
And even if they weren't, they were old and nobody cared about them anymore. So, so now,
Yeah.
so now they're like moving on to 1701, where people, renewed interest has come back up, and it's
Ah,
like, what really happened to Roanoke? Because literally everybody's been dropping the ball on this for the past 100 years.
yeah. Wow. Also, I mean, you know, I- they were busy slaughtering natives at this point, so that they took a break probably. Um, so yeah, in 1701 to 1709, uh, we're talking John Lawson here. Sea traffic through Roanoke Island declined in the 17th century, mostly due to the dangerous waters off the Outer Banks, which we've heard a lot about. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of storms out there. In 1672, the inlet between Hatteras and Croatoan Islands closed, and the resulting landmass became known as Hatteras Island. I went surfing there a while back, and it was fun. Actually, it wasn't fun. Surfing was really hard in the Outer Banks. It's like not like surfing anywhere else in the world. Um, while exploring the Carolinas from 1701 to 1709, John Lawson visited Hatteras Island. Although Europeans traveled through the Outer Banks during the 17th century, John Lawson was the first historian to visit since White left in 1590. During this visit, he came into contact with the Hatteras people. Lawson was impressed with the influence of English culture on the Hatteras. They reported that many of their ancestors had been white, and some of them had sported gray eyes. Lawson therefore theorized the colonists had assimilated with this tribe after they had lost faith in England saving them. Makes sense. While visiting Roanoke Island itself, Lawson reported finding the remains of a fort, English coins, firearms, and a powder horn.
See,
Um,
now we're actually getting into the facts. Like,
yeah,
this is the first dude to go over and be like, hey, can we stop making shit up and actually look for stuff? And he found, like, actual remnants of European society on this island.
and
And,
people who could have been descended from them.
yeah. And so it's like, okay, maybe this is what really happened to the Roanoke people.
Hmm. Okay. Well, okay. So this is like the first like decent like historian we've met who hasn't been like, well, we gotta fucking convert all these people now.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, look at the intent, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rayleigh was all about sassafras and fucking El Dorado and
Yes, he
overthrowing the
was.
monarch, all the way up through John Smith and like Samuel Purchase, who were all about like fucking, hey, these are the reasons why we should take down the Native Americans,
Yeah.
and everything was marked with bloodshed and bullshit. Uh,
Yeah.
John Lawson was the first one to objectively look at the situation and be like, this is a very probable thing.
Yeah. No, he's making a lot of sense here. Um, unfortunately, research into the lost colonies ended after Lawson. Lawson's 1701 investigation and wasn't picked up until the 19th century when renewed interest kicked in. It's interesting how people keep coming back to this. They're like, God, what happened to that colony? Like every couple hundred years, like what do we do with those people? Huh?
Yeah, because as soon as John Lawson was like, hey, maybe it wasn't just bloodshed and all this like anti-Native American fucking propaganda,
Propaganda.
it was like, oh well, this is kind of boring then.
Yeah,
You know, Wait,
yeah,
where's
yeah.
our fucking Iron Man versus Doom? You know,
If you can't have a, if you can't get a good reason to like convert people to Christianity or like kill them all, it's like it is kind of boring.
yeah, because that's what
Yeah,
Jesus taught us: convert everybody to Christianity or slaughter them.
It's exactly what Jesus taught everybody.
that's yeah, that's it. That's in the King James Bible. Um, no, I like the Douglas Adams view on Jesus, that like uh when some guy was like, "Hey, let's like be nice to each other," we nailed him to a cross.
Yeah, I know. I love Douglas Adams' view of the world. By the way, if you guys don't know who we're talking about, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a fantastic fucking read. And
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
my favorite book.
that
The
was,
whole series is.
It
oh yeah,
really is. But yeah, like he starts the whole series off with like some guy like saying like, "Hey, everyone should like be nice to each other and like not be assholes," and then I mean he gets nailed to a piece of wood.
we respond by being a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
It's within
exactly.
human nature. We want bloodshed and villains. And the minute that we propose something that doesn't have it in it, we're gonna lose interest.
That's true. I mean, I want Iron Man versus what was it?
Doctor Doom. We don't want
Yeah,
Iron Man versus lawyers.
no, no, or do we? Um,
That
I
would
think
be
that
like. That would be like. What is that? Fucking turn bird at law. What the fuck is
Harvey
that?
Birdman,
oh
attorney at law.
yeah,
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this would be like Iron Man does his taxes. You know, nobody's gonna read that.
Who would read that? I bet his taxes are very interesting. He's got probably got a lot of tax dodges in there.
Yeah,
He is rich.
he is rich.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about some modern research. Okay, so 1877 to the present day, archaeological evidence. Talcott Williams, that sounds like he's someone who inherited a uh uh damn it, talc company. Yeah, there we go. Talcum
Amazing.
powder. Yeah, amazing.
Giving
Discovered in
women cancer since 1887.
exactly causing birth defects since 1887. Uh, Talcott Williams discovered a Native American burial site in 1887. This kicked off archaeological research on Roanoke. He returned in 1895 to excavate the fort, but found nothing of significance. I love this name. Ivor Noel Hume later made several compelling finds in the 1990s. Although none of them could be positively linked to the 1587 colony, as opposed to the 1585 outpost.
Yeah,
After her, yeah, that's because that's right. There wasn't the colony wasn't the first. It was those like other people that like stayed there for a while.
and that's the thing is like Lawson's discovery could have easily been the outpost, or it could have been the minor colony that came after that failed within like.
Yeah, that's right. So could be a lot of things. Let's see. After Hurricane Emily swung through the coast, it managed to unearth many Native American artifacts along Cape Creek in Buxton, North Carolina. Anthropologist Dave Sutton Phelps Jr. analyzed an excavation in 1995. Phelps and his team discovered what appeared to be a gold signet ring bearing the heraldry of a Kindle family in the 16th century. Though this find was celebrated, Phelps never published a paper on this as on his findings, and neglected to have the ring properly tested.
Yeah, so
And
you know the
yeah,
biggest thing that probably could have cracked the case was lost to history. So fuck it, I guess.
Sounds
well,
about right though when it comes to like this sort of historical shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
No, what really happened is the Illuminati stole it because they didn't want the truth coming out.
that's it.
Yes,
Aliens.
aliens and the Illuminati. Okay, so that ring languished until 2017. X-ray analysis was done on the ring. It was proven to be brass, not gold. An expert could not confirm the alleged connection to the Kindles. The low value and relative anonymity of made it difficult to conclusively associate the ring with the Roanoke Colony, which means it likely came from the Americas at a later date.
Yep. So
Oh,
it's like
boy.
every string they pull, it just leads nowhere.
Well, I mean, this guy. Okay, it's pretty easy to fucking tell the difference between brass and gold. What the fuck? What kind of fucking anthropologist is this?
Maybe he was just listening to Brass Monkey at the time.
Oh, or drinking Brass Monkey at the time.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's like,
He
this
was
is
on
a
a
fucking gold ring.
he was on a drunk survival vacation.
I'm gonna get this fucking ring tested. This is like a fact. This is the greatest find of the century, right? This is pure gold.
He found it and he was like, gold or brass? Brass Monkey. I'm gonna drink some Brass Monkey and I'll forget about this ring.
Just throws it right next to the Ark of the Covenant. It's like, I'll deal with this later.
This- how many years went by? Like 20? 30?
Yeah, I mean, well, 1587, 96. Yeah, 30, 35 years.
Yeah, God, fucking guy, man. All right. The challenge for archaeologists seeking information about the 1587 colonists is that a lot of artifacts could have come from the 1585 colonists or through various trades between Native Americans and European settlements in the same era. However, archaeologists have a theory: shoreline erosion. The northern shore of Roanoke Island, where the Lane and White colonies were located, lost 928 feet between 1851 and 1970. Following this trend back to the 1580s, it's reasonable to assume that portions of the settlement are now underwater, along with artifacts and remains.
See, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not entirely like outside the realm of possibility.
Well, and you've got like storms coming through there like every like few years, like pulling shit up and depositing it in other places. Like it's probably not it's not out of the realm of possibilities for sure.
Honestly, the BuzzFeed did a great, like, much more concise version of this. But they talked about, like, what if they were slaughtered and their bodies were just thrown in the ocean?
Yeah. You
You
mean
know?
BuzzFeed Unsolved?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of were. They did this in a half an hour, not 4 hours. But
Wait, is that the two dudes that do Puppet History?
no. Oh, is it?
No, I'm maybe it's Ryan and Shane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a little out of. If either of you have time to kill, I highly suggest watching Puppet History.
Okay.
It is one of the most amazing things on YouTube.
Well, okay. Well, in that case, everyone should also watch BuzzFeed Unsolved because it's the same two dudes doing paranormal research.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have
I
on Hulu they have BuzzFeed Unsolved, and then they have like BuzzFeed True Crime, and both are fascinating. Like they're 30-minute episodes where they break down like cases.
Yeah.
yeah,
Unsolved is
Ryan
great.
Baraga. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
It is. Yeah, and Shane. Yeah, it is the same guys.
Yeah.
And we chose to do it a much longer version because we don't want to muddy the waters. These are all the facts. Like
Yes.
if you listen from episode 1 to our final episode, you will get the full story of Roanoke, and you will probably have a very concise version of what happened to the fucking colony.
I mean, I could do it in like 3 seconds. Why people show up, why people disappear, why people come back.
That's it. End of the podcast.
That was it.
They killed a white woman, and now England's interested.
Oh, you keep going it. Are you on push to talk, Kirby?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah. That's better.
No, I just said they killed a white woman, and now England is interested.
You did it again, buddy.
Yeah, it cut out and it cut out exactly where
Yeah.
it cut out before.
Somebody, I think the Illuminati doesn't want you to talk.
This
It's
is
got to
it.
be the Illuminati.
This is real. This is the real story right here. We're being stopped.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're being canceled by the Illuminati.
I would tell you guys my theory, but it would just get silenced again.
Yeah,
So
but-
there we go.
It's-
Just know it was
we're-
very potent and completely cleared everything up.
Absolutely. And, you know, the Illuminati can get in line of canceling us because we've been trying to get canceled for fucking weeks.
Yeah, Illuminati, put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hashtag
let's
cancel
hear it.
Crook and murder.
Yeah. And listen to the entire episode. Let's see. Okay, in 1998, we have some climate research. 1998 team led by climatologist David W. Stahl, University of Arkansas, and archaeologist Dennis B. Blanton, College of William and Mary, concluded that an extreme drought occurred in tidewater between 1587 and 1589. Their study measured growth rings from a network of cypress trees, which produced data from 1185 to 1984. Wow. 1587 was measured as the absolute worst growing season in an 800-year period.
Yeah, so they
Wow.
could have just died off because they're shitty
Yeah.
farmers to begin with. And then, of course, it was a drought, like a massive drought, like the
Yeah.
fucking Dust Bowl type of drought.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I keep mentioning like the little ice age. Like through this whole time, there was like I don't know, like a 1,000-year period that we had a mini ice age on the planet, and it caused like massive migration from Europe to the New World. It also caused like wars to be fought during the Middle Ages. But right around this time is when it started to get really bad. Like something somewhere between like the 1500s to the 1800s was horrible. Like even if you the Revolutionary War, if you look at the painting of like Washington crossing the Delaware, there's like big chunks of ice and shit, which like doesn't happen now.
And if you want to know what that's like, actually, we just experienced a mini ice age of our own a couple years back. It just ended. It lasted about 4 movies, and it had like had a weasel type character in it and like a saber-toothed tiger. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a great ice age, and I'm gonna revisit that one.
Fucking Ray Romano.
Fucking Ray Romano. God.
All right,
Alright,
so
okay.
this next thing coming up, I can't discount it. Like, this is actually fascinating, and it's not stupid like they were zombified. This is a legitimate theory, and I think they're onto something with this.
Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so 2011-2019, Site X. In November 2011, researchers noticed two. I'm sorry. Do you mean coercive?
Correct.
No, corrective.
Corrective. Sorry. Oh God. Okay, sorry. I should make this bigger. There we go. Okay. Corrective patches on White's 1585 map La Virginie Pars.
Now, if you want to know like what this is, just a little refresher. This was the map that was meticulously crafted, like so well done that people are still having difficulty understanding how. It was like it mapped out the shoreline from North Carolina to fucking Virginia
Yeah,
with like
right.
legitimate fucking accuracy. And so to put
Okay.
corrective patches on it
Yeah.
is a little sus when everything else is so fucking on point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is
So,
this the
okay.
sassafras guy?
No. That was
I think this was during John White's time, like when he
Yeah,
first-
this was John White.
Riley was
Not
the
Raleigh,
sassafras guy.
yeah.
Raleigh.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. At their request, the British Museum, which Kirby's never been to, obviously, which is probably just Nicolas Cage wearing a fake mustache, a monocle, and a shitty British accent. um, it's actually a big museum with lots of stuff they stole from all around the world, from all
Yeah.
types of natives.
And fucking refuse to give back.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage.
Oh, and Nicolas Cage, yes. Trying to find maps and shit. Examined the original map with a light table, which seems like they should have done a long time before that. One of the patches at the convergence of Roanoke and Chowan rivers was found to cover a symbol representing a fort. The symbol was not to scale, though. It covered an area representing thousands of acres in Bertie County, North Carolina. The location is presumed to be in or near the 16th century Weapamoek village of Metaquin, when a team prepared to excavate the site in 2012, archaeologist Nicholas Lachetti suggested they name the location Site X, as in X marks the spot.
Come
What
on,
a
that's
smart man.
100% Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
He just changed his last name.
Absolutely. He pointed at the thing and was like, X marks the spot.
Yeah,
We'll
he
call it Site
probably
X.
discovered this in the bowels of America's capital and went, this is National Treasure 4.
Absolutely. In 2017, the First Colony Foundation, which they're probably not good people, reported finding fragments of Tudor pottery and weapons at Site X. These presumably indicate that a small group of colonists resided peacefully there. However, it's tough to convincingly rule out the possibility that these artifacts were not just brought to the area by the trading post established there in the 1650s by Nathaniel Batts. The group has announced plans to expand the research further inland in 2019.
So this is still being excavated, and you're probably wondering, why would John White hide a fucking fort? Why would he hide this from the British? What's the point of this? Blah, blah, blah. Truth be told, John White could have found something there. He could have been like, this is going to make me legitimately rich, and I know if I turn it into the fucking king and queen of England, they're just going to take it. So he could have very easily gone back to England, delayed his return trip while he collected the fucking gold from North America, and gave him some bullshit story that the colonists need help.
You know, that is in keeping with the entire theme of this shit. Is like, I found something, it's mine, and what's his face? Raleigh was convicted of treason.
Yeah.
For like, so yeah, John White might have been the smart guy here and was like, I won't tell the crown.
And then when you go back to Roanoke 3 years later and there's not a colony there, you're like, oh man, I guess they all died. Well, hey,
Yeah.
I'm just going to step behind this bush over here real quick. And then they're like, wait, why'd you come back with like 6 pounds of gold, John White?
Exactly.
And he's like, it was sitting behind the bush.
Yeah.
I left it here.
Yeah. And why are those like white people still working on your mine? They're a lost colony or something. I don't know.
It's just fucking the first whitewashing of Native Americans is just John White putting feathers in their caps and being like, those are Native Americans.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's just as plausible as anything. Like that, kind of makes sense. Like why maybe he like was like he like made the map and was like, I'm gonna find my way back there, but let's put this little patch over here.
Yeah, let's just put this little patch here so the king and queen of England don't know that we established a fucking fort here, and I can continue to collect the winnings alongside Rayleigh.
Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, we don't even need to do a chapter 4.
We're gonna go into chapter 4. Chapter 4 are I've structured the next Roanoke episode from the most bullshit reasons to the most likely reasons.
Oh, okay.
And by the end of it, you're gonna have 2 or 3 theories that actually make fucking sense. And there's a
Yeah.
couple there that are kind of like the John White theory, and then there's a couple there that even like go a bit further and will tell you basically what happened exactly to the fucking colonists. And there will be no more of this like, oh, some spooky colony. We're gonna clear that up. And
Yeah.
then the final part of the episode, each of us, as Alex just found out, are gonna propose their own theory on what happened to the Roanoke colony.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got a theory. All right,
Oh, I got a filthy theory.
I got a. Oh, not what I was thinking of, but now it may be erotica.
Yes. I mean, mine is basically like cuckold porn with like
Covered porn.
with
This is
like big strapping like Native American dudes.
this is amazing, guys. We're definitely not muddying the waters anymore here.
Yeah,
It'll be fine.
we'll be fine.
I hope to God 100 years from now someone doesn't listen to our podcast and go, well, that's what happened to the Roanoke, based off the theories of us three, because I know mine is a little far fetched and a little bit out there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I'm sure the historians will look back at our podcast and say, "Yep, those guys were experts."
Those guys are full of shit.
God, I hope not. Especially since I was half asleep for the second half of that, which I
Yeah,
apologize
well, it's
about.
expected. It's all right. I'm tired too. Well, anyways, I hope so they announced that they do further research right when COVID started. So I'm assuming that put like a I don't know, they put a pin in it for a little while. So
They
hopefully,
probably put a pin in it.
yeah, Side X will probably get some more funding in the next couple of years.
You know, ironically, since we did Roanoke Part 3 at the end of the three of them, the very next episode is going to be Roanoke Part 4.
Yep.
And then we got, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it for you all. We got the Flatwoods monster following that, and the
Yeah.
Flying Dutchman. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, we're going to be talking about the Flying Dutchman, which was a fun one to write. And
Yeah.
after
And a dirty one to read.
that's going to bring us to the close of the Roanoke arc. And we're going to
Yeah.
jump into the next season after that. And trust me, it's going to be.
Yep. You thought this was weird. We're gonna get weirder.
It's going to be a lot weirder than this. And it's going to be
yeah.
out there. It's going to be very esoteric. And I'm very fucking excited about that one.
I'm excited too.
Because we're going to be talking about shit that, yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be good. I think everyone should tune in, and new listeners should tune in too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get
All
over
right.
this last Roanoke hump. We're gonna bring you the theories, not this week, but the week after.
Yep.
And we'll kick off the end of the season, and then we'll reveal the season's whatever synopsis.
Yeah.
After that, the next one.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's chapter 3 of Roanoke. White people doing white people things.
I'm actually ready to move on from Roanoke. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we've been talking about this for ages. It feels like.
Well, I'm looking forward. I'm happy we're done with the facts. I'm looking forward to the theories.
Yeah, the theories are going to be a fun episode, especially
Yeah.
when we get to each propose our own.
Yeah.
Because at times the facts feels like the Similarian. It's like, wow, it's amazing that fucking Gandalf was a mayor, but do I really need to read the Genesis of Middle Earth? You know?
Yeah. And do I really need to like read like Gandalf's fucking history going back 6,000 years?
And though I have not read the Similarian, I know a shit ton about it, and I've vicariously absorbed Middle Earth's lore throughout my years.
I bought it and tried reading it, and then I was like, man, okay, I'll just like get it on tape and listen to it. So then I got it on Audible and tried listening to it, and I was like, man, this is boring.
Yeah.
Just like fucking. I think I got like I probably read like a good like 400 pages, which is like a quarter of the way through it, and I'm still thinking like, is this guy they're talking about Gandalf?
And then Amazon went, hey, let's take this and make it somehow even more boring.
Hey, I really liked that fucking show. What? They like took it and were like, let's condense this 6,000 years into like 200 years and make it like followable.
Sure. Okay. We're gonna wrap up the podcast here.
I'm gonna guest on fucking I'm guesting next week on Stone Gauntlet just to fucking talk about how good the Rings of Power is.
Oh my god, I might just have to watch an episode or two just to combat you on that.
Really good. Okay, let's wrap this shit up.
Alright guys, my name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby, and keep it weird out there.
Hey, my name is Maxwell Murder, and we didn't do our introductions today.
No, we really didn't, but if you don't know who we are by this point, go back and listen to Roanoke Part 1.
Still, we gotta remember to do that, because people might be, I don't know, just tuning in. But whatever.
True.
Yeah, Alex.
And my name is Special Guest Alex, and I am immediately gonna fall asleep.
We know.
We can see
I'm
it,
gonna-
buddy.
I'm gonna watch the rest of Surviving R. Kelly Part 3.
I thought you were about to say you were gonna watch me sleep. And I was like, kind of weird, but all right, whatever floats your boat.
Just leave the camera up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here just watching. All right. Okay. Shout outs, right?
Oh shit. I guess we're ending. Alright, I had the music playing. Shout out real quick. John Zorro is allowing us to listen to this amazing music.
Yes, he is.
And thank you to him. That is John Zarra. Go check him out on YouTube.
Yep.
We're
And
gonna,
then, yeah.
we're gonna do this better next week.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Hey.
guys.
We're good at our
Good night,
job, I swear.
Ish.
Later.